All right, friends, welcome back to the channel. I have been up really early today. I was pulling some ginger for my brother. I took it over to his house. He's been wanting some actual ginger, and my neighbor is cutting the grass. But anyway, I also gave him some turmeric. So I wanted to show you guys, we had done the starter kit for Haas, right? So I wanted to show you that a lot of the sprouts came up. You can see they're very like leggy. So I'm actually going to start to kind of, that one's really tiny here at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these closer to the light, just because I don't want them trying to reach for the light. But that's good to know because that soil tells me that everything is good. One time, so that's kind of like my test. One time what ended up happening is I used some soil, some starter soil, and unfortunately none of my seeds really came up because the soil, I don't know, it just wasn't right. It either was like had too much nutrients or something had happened in the bag, and basically all the seeds failed. Now we are in a full moon, and honestly that's when I like to plant. I like to plant when I know we're gonna have a full moon. It just seems like the seeds do better. I'm sure there's some old tale about plant when there's a full moon out, but for sure that's what we did. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna move forward with planting some additional seeds in our pots that we just got from Temu. Like I said, these are not the greatest, but I have them, so I'm gonna go ahead and utilize them. Now what we can be planting is watermelon. We can get those seeds started. I have some winged beans. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with planting the winged beans. Now, winged beans are probably more for me a direct sow than they are, you know, putting in these containers. I'm also gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna plant, I wasn't going to, but I think I'm gonna move forward with planting some romaine. Romaine will do fairly well in warmer temperatures. I'm gonna plant them in a shady area, but I did I don't know what else plants, other plants yet that I want to plant, but I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure that you also use labels when you're planting. Get those little just like ones you can just write on, because I've done this as well. Is I will plant a bunch of stuff and then I won't remember what I actually planted, and I'll be trying to just think what it even is. So that's why it's really good to use those little like marker tabs. I always try to buy a little bit extra of those. So what I have ordered is I ordered some more pineapple guavas. Now I got 3 of these. Here are the other 2 right here. And so I'm going to continue planting along the fence line, because to me, I've been talking to you guys about some more like, maybe more like long-term sustainable plants that I feel like we need to be having in our garden, just because it's great to have seasonal plants, but you need stuff that's also going to keep you sustained. And so that's what I'm moving forward with on that. Now, surprisingly, I told you guys, you know, about that storm that came through. Obviously, that's what I'm placing my money on, is, you know, this rain thing, this rain situation. But, I actually have, which I only have 2 of them, so, you know, not that big of a deal right now. I see some others that had popped up, but we have some okra. So I'm excited. Here is a big one. We need to just go ahead and pull this one because it'll get very woody. I usually bring out scissors with me and I forgot. I just got excited about, oh yeah, this one's probably gonna be woody because it's hard to get off. Yeah, that one's gonna be tough. I can feel it. Yeah, we can try it. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's way too tough. I'm gonna send that one back to Mother Earth. It'll grow some more for us. I probably should have just left it. Yeah, that one's too tough. Here's this little baby one. Yeah, this one snapped right off. That's kind of what you want, is one that's gonna snap right off. These are really good for pickling, but a lot of people don't know this. You can eat these raw. Yeah. Raw is best in this case, because let me explain why. These are really healing for the gut, and so if you can tolerate them, just eat them raw. You don't have to cook them or preserve them. Now, my nephew loves these pickled, so if I have enough that actually come up, then I'll definitely pickle these. Super good. The other thing that we have going out here right now, which just kind of came up on its own, I did not plant this, is we have loofah. So here's our loofah. There's a little loofah right there. There's a flower. That one did not pollinate because it's super yellow. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that one off. But as you can see, we've got some flowers, and then we've got that tiny one. Now, these are the loofah that people can eat. You can consume loofah. There are Asian cuisines that kind of talk to you and tell you about how to eat loofah. I have never consumed loofah in that regard. I do utilize it for a lot of like dishwashing and body washing. I love having loofah for that. I've been telling you guys about the key limes. I have pulled off already 87 key limes off my tree. I have been sharing. Look at them. I still have a ton of a ton of key limes that have come up, that are still producing and still growing. So look at that, y'all. They're all in there, and we are not done counting our key lime. I mean, look at it. They're everywhere. So what an absolute blessing. Oh, there's like a little lizard in there, but they're still good when they start to turn yellow. I actually prefer them to be yellow because I just know that they're ready, and they are much softer and easier to actually squeeze out. That is our turmeric. So that's one of our turmeric plants. That's a medicinal turmeric right there that we ordered from the medicinal seeds. So that's doing really well. It likes this like high humidity for sure. It's rained like every day. The other day, I think we were on record for having 6.5 inches of rain. And that's what I'm saying. In our rainy seasons, we really act like a very tropical area. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, I planted it this morning, and my camera was just not working when I got up and took a bunch of ginger over to my brother's, and some turmeric to him from my other bed. I also took him some basil. Oh, there's my beauty berries. Look, that's what a beauty berry looks like. Aren't they pretty? Now you want them to get purple, and when they're done getting purple, you can do your own research, but you can actually make jelly with beauty berry. So that is what we are gonna do. There's not enough there to make jelly yet, but you can see these over here are starting to turn. So you really need quite a few of these to get some jelly, but that's probably what we'll end up doing with those. But what I planted this morning, these came in the mail. They look really sad, but these were called dragon bananas. I ordered them from Etsy. They are really just a red banana. Now, I ordered one for myself and one for my brother. I'm going to share with him. But you can see these did not arrive in great shape. They had been sitting, they got delivered via the mail, US mail, and it looks like they had been sitting for a little bit. They just aren't in the best of shape. So what I've done is I've added some potassium. I've added quite a bit of just other nutrients into this plant. And I have got them in this pot. Now I'm using the like ocean floor soil that you guys have seen me use before, and that's what I'm using in this pot to get these babies growing and started. Basically today what I'm going to end up doing is, now that I know those seeds actually are going to start with that soil, we are going to get started on our seeds for the fall. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, wow. Look at this. I wasn't even paying attention to this plant, but this is my holy basil. Look at it. It's doing fairly well. It's going to seed. I need to pick that, but that's a lot of good holy basil there. So I'm gonna be making some tea. Fresh tea is always lovely. And back here, this is a propagated mulberry plant. You can see it. Look how tall it is. Oh, there's a little lizard on it. Hi, buddy. You're so cute. Yeah, you're cute. You can live and be happy. Yeah, so we're gonna be getting more mulberry. I want to grow quite a bit more mulberry. I want my family to be able to have mulberry, my parents. I have some people at work that would love to have some mulberry plants. And I've showed you guys in the past how to propagate mulberry. You definitely want to know how to do that. Like I said, as much as we can get growing, we need to be growing right now, friends. Hi, sweet girl. You're so cute. You want to come in? I love you, Angel. Come on. All right, so we have gotten some seeds, and I have my little Temu starter ready. And I think what we're gonna do is we are going to get started with Mother Mary's pie. Now, I really was gonna do a lot of Haas seeds this go round, but I want to plant this one, and so we are in August, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull. We're just gonna do 4 of these. They're really super tiny. They like temperatures at 75 to 90 degrees, and they'll sprout within 7 to 14 days. So here they are. They're super tiny. They look like maybe like cucumber seeds, really small. I'm gonna go ahead and plant these in. Get those started. Smart thing to do would be, honestly, just to do a whole group of them, like a whole little tray, but it is what it is. Because if they all 4 take off and they do well, then I don't, I just don't need that many. So here's my little tags. I have a permanent marker, and I'm just gonna write them, the name of it on here, so that I can remember what's in each row. All right, and hopefully those will take off. So there's that one. Honestly, what I think I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna do this midget melon, because I know that my nephews like this one. This is another one that actually looks like a lot like a cucumber seed, and you want to kind of mount this in like a hill. You don't want to necessarily just plant it in the ground. But here's the good thing, because I use the grow beds, that works just fine. So they're kind of like held up in that regard. So they just need like aeration in the roots. So let's do this one, the midget melon. All right, I'm gonna get these planted. You don't want to plant them obviously too deep, but that'll be fine. Once they kind of start to take root, I'll separate them and they'll do just perfectly. All right, there's that one. And then honestly, I think I am gonna do this one, Haas Tool. It's gonna be the speckled pup squash. Now the germination rate is about 95%, and they take 85 days to get to maturity. So that's why I want to go ahead and plant these now. I'd really like to see these I'd like to maybe harvest them sometime around, oh, I was forgetting a step. around Thanksgiving. I think that'd be really great to get some of those. So don't forget that you want to go ahead and clip a little piece off the edge. I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well, but I've clipped a little piece there because I want it to really absorb and take off. That is the best way to get your squash seeds to grow, is you just want to take a pair of nail clippers and just clip that little edge. And I will keep moisture on these for a few days for sure. You know, just watch them, take care of them like you would do with any new plant. And eventually you'll be able to see the roots. And then you will know to transplant them at some point, but it'll be a little bit before we worry about transplanting. So I'm gonna do this one. All right. Beautiful. So those are ready. All right, and then the next seed that I want to go ahead and get started is going to be this lettuce. Now this was a free pack from Baker Creek. I did not actually order any lettuce from Haas Tools, but I'm going to go ahead and get this started. These really like 60 to 80 degrees, but I'm jumping the gun on this and I know that. So if they don't start, it'll be fine. Lettuce seeds are micro tiny. You can see some right there at the top. They are super small. You want to surface sow them. I usually do romaine, but I'm gonna go ahead and just barely scratch the surface on these. And you know what's probably gonna end up happening is I'm probably gonna get more than one in there because they're just so tiny. And honestly, it's a little bit warm to be planting lettuce, if I'm being honest. Like, I really need just a little more cool weather, but I think if I plant it in some shade, it'll kind of give it a little bit of reprieve from that terrible heat that we've been having. And as we all know, it's only getting cooler. So I've gone ahead and put that lettuce in here for that. And then I pulled, let me see, did I pull? I'm gonna go ahead and do the basil leaf lettuce. This one can tolerate 60 to 90 degrees, and this will take off and should show in about 6 to 10 days. Now these get some fairly large leaves, so. And I only need 4 little seeds. But in these circumstances, I bet even if I got more than one in there, it'll be okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and, yeah, I just dropped 2 and there's no way to like catch that. I just need 2 more, I'll plant them there. Yep, 2 more. I'm micro tiny. A lot of people buy their basil from the store. You can, like, if you go to Whole Foods, a lot of times they'll have basil there at the store. And this one is a big leaf. It does look like a lettuce leaf. And so a lot of people do wraps and stuff with them. You can make pestos with that. So keep that in mind because they're like beautiful. But I like to use them for tea, just so y'all know. All right, and then I'm gonna do on this back half, I'm gonna do some spaghetti squash. Now these are Haas, and they take about 90 days. So the good thing about these trays is that they have those pockets back here that are flexible, so I can pop them out and I will be able to just pull out my basil before I pull out my squash. It'll give my squash extra room to grow. And these seeds are fairly large. So we're still gonna clip them here at the side, as you guys can see right there. And then I'm just gonna plant them straight down. These are more or less the things that you want to get started. These plants that are going to take, you know, like 80, 90, 60 days or more. Mostly that 80 or 90 range, because you really want to make sure, well, for me, I really want to be harvesting like, you know, October, November, during that time frame. I think that would be best to be harvesting, because I have everybody for Thanksgiving. They always come here, and I want to be able to share my harvest with them during that time. Like I said, I am a little bit early, so I'm going to save some of these trays back for September, so that way I can do kind of like succession planting. So if these don't take off, or when I get them out there they get attacked by bugs, as you guys know, we get a lot of bugs. I just don't want, you know, that to happen. And so if it does, I will have backup to these seeds. So, all right. Oh, the next thing I'm actually gonna do is, I really love squash. I love it cooked pretty much any way that you can make it. And so now that the weather's cooling off a little bit, a lot of people grow that in the summer. But here, when we start to get a little bit better temperatures where it's not so blistering, I like to bring the squash back out so that we have a, what I call, for us, a fall harvest, which is just cooler weather. We don't really have fall here. It's not like in North Carolina or South Carolina where you get to see leaves change or anything. It just means that it's just usually a little bit cooler, like maybe potentially in the 80s or something like that. It's rare that we get really cool weather until about, you know, December, even into like January, sometimes into March. Like, we'll get cooler weather all the way up into March. So there you have it. So happy planting, everyone. Continue being out there in the garden, touching Mother Earth, and just staying connected to the land. So until next time, friends, love one another, be kind, and I can't wait to bring you back to show you how well the garden is doing as we move forward into our fall months.